allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will record that all members of council are present. We don't have a need for an executive session. We go to the minutes from the September 12th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions? Motion to accept?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So ordered. Public comments, we have Amanda Hampton speaking to us about Make a Difference Day. Amanda is coming in place of Marcy, who's not able to come tonight because of a family emergency. So, Amanda, we'll let you talk.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hampton with Madison County Family Services and Prevention, and I'm coming to you tonight about Make a Difference Day. It's going to be held, it's a nationally recognized holiday that's celebrated every year, the fourth Saturday of every month. There will be hubs all over Madison County. We have one in Plain City, West Jeff, London, and then also at the Mount Sterling Community Center. Again, the events will be on October 22nd. We will be having a harvest festival that's going to be open to the public that day, where we will serve hot dogs, chips, soda, and then we'll have elephant ears, funnel cakes. But we're really looking for some projects for that day from the 9 to 1 time frame, or 9 to 3 approximately. That way they can turn in their project information at the Harvest Festival from 3 to 6. So if the village has any suggestions for projects that the town would like to have completed by volunteer groups, or if you guys would like to participate in any of the projects for the day, we would love to have as many community partners as we can. We are in collaboration with a lot of the churches, as well as the Community Center, the Chamber of Commerce, the Legion Hall, a number of different organizations, and hopefully we get some additional support. So that's all I have. Do you guys, I do have a flyer about what Make a Difference Day is. We are trying to get a grant, and if anybody else would like to have one. We are trying to get a grant with this. Last year, unfortunately, we did not get that, so this is one time that we really want people to take a photograph, take notes. Any participants, no feed is too small on that day, so even if it's raking your neighbor's leaves, that counts as a project, and we need to know about it. It has to be completed on that day. But again, we're trying to get a grant, and this grant would actually be benefiting middle-class families that cannot receive support from the county because they do not meet financial regulations. So, anybody have any questions on that?
I know the Nazarene Church, we're talking about having several things going on. So
there's going to be trunk or treating. Yeah. We're going to have a gentleman there, an artist that's going to be doing art for the kids all day. We'll have a costume contest. Like I said, food, elephant ears, funnel cakes. We are hoping to have a DJ, but it's all being ran off of donations and volunteer work. So, thank you guys.
Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, our next item would be the village administrator.
Thank you. Just a few comments here. You've got written comments in front of you there, so I won't bother you reading them all. Did have a community service worker come in and knock off some hours to help us with some weeds and stuff around the town here, so we got a lot of that finished up. I spoke to two contractors, or one contractor, speaking to another soon on some repairs to the Bio-Solid building. Weller Heating and Cooling, who's doing all the work at the new water plants, came down, looked at some heating and cooling and plumbing and boiler issues and a number of things that he's going to try and help us fix that building up in an attempt to correct the punch list that we got from the consultants and we talked about with PwC. Made some very good comments, very good observations, all good legitimate issues, and we're trying to fix those up. So should have a couple people doing that. I'll have some quotes to you as soon as we know on that. New water plant, the two big tanks are just about finished. I think you got to put some lids and a couple of gates and stuff in them, and then drill some holes for the water coming in. Water and electric boring over to Mason Park is pretty much done, and all the turf rehab's been finished up. Now we're gonna rip it up and put all the CGB stuff in, so once you fix it, you wreck it and do it again, right? So, we're still looking at an expected delivery date of June 23rd. That hasn't been pushed any. We'll see as we get closer if we're gonna hit that. Current water system and plant, we're installing about 10 to 15 meters a week, replacing all the mechanicals, got about 183 left. My number was off a little last month, I thought it was 170, it's actually, we had 203, we put 10 in last week, down to 183. So that should clean up that, some of the meter problems. Hydrant flushing still October 10 to 14. We've been attacking some of the alleys. We had some nice warm weather and a little bit of rain, and the leaves and the bushes and stuff in the alleys went crazy. So we've been sending Tyler around to hit all those as much as we can. A few weedy problems there. Some folks have identified some weedy areas that we're addressing those too. Talked to a couple homeowners, and then we're going to do some cleanup ourselves in some areas. So we're trying to get those done. Had a couple of storm sewer blockages, one specifically up on Spring Street. We found a couple critters who were living in there. They're probably upset with us now because they got the bath and probably shot down into the sewer system. So some of our raccoons are going to be upset with us. Still anticipating the October 15 craft crew event here. Just a reminder that it'll be happening. Revitalization plan grant. Tonight we need to accept the quote on the playground equipment so those contracts and things can go to the commissioners so they can release the money. Couple of small items, the grill, the trash can, the spring toys, those things are still in discussion. We'll have more on that shortly right before they hit them. Clevenger Road, trying to get the specifications to get that done. We have to have all that work finished by August of next year. So that project specifications and bid specs should be going, we hope, I'm going to talk to IBI about that, but I hope to get those out soon so we can get them bidded and have that on somebody's early agenda in the spring, one of their first projects to knock that off for us. I did clarify with the lady from ODOT that the CEG money for Clevenger goes from Maine all the way to 207. It's both pieces of Clevenger. So, and when it rains, it pours. I've now had 3 sources to fund Clevenger Road. The round 30 ODOT money apparently was available. We've also got CEGB money that we were granted, and then we had another grant that was put in for small governments through round 31, and there's a good possibility we'll get funded again. So I'm asking the engineers and Whitaker Wright and the ODOT representative to figure out what to do to make sure all that works and that we're not, obviously having triple funding. That obviously won't work. It's going to be one fund and get it done. Let's see, the Veterans Memorial, we're still kicking that around. We'll work on that. We have to have something done on that by the August timeframe also. So the actions that we need tonight at your leisure is the Mason Park to accept the playground equipment, and then we have a quote from JCAR to put in drainage, which has been a real problem to drain the swamp over at Mason Park. They gave us a quote, and they're willing to do that work this fall before we start the revitalization programs to get all that chopped up and then put back before we start doing the dugouts and the batting cages and basketball and walking track and all the other parts that they're going to do for us. So they gave us a quote that I think is very favorable and can be done pretty quickly. It's phase 1 of the drain. It'll take the 2 big areas that really are heavy pools and drain them out, and we're hoping that will suck water out of the baseball diamonds and all that. So at this point, we're not suggesting to tear up the baseball diamonds, because what you do is you go into the middle about where home plate is and you stick a big machine in the ground, just tear the tar out of it and drop a pipe down in 4 feet. If you've ever gone to the Farm Science Review, it's a great big monster track thing with a big knife on it and drops ADS pipe in the ground, but it really tears the place up. So we're going to try to avoid tearing up the ball diamonds right now and get the general heavy areas drained first. See if that pulls the water in from the diamonds. If it doesn't, we'll go for phase 2, and then we'll have to go into the diamonds and drain those too. So for your action, I need those two items, dealt with at your pleasure. That's all I have.
You want to take action on the CDBG grant during finance or now?
Your choice. However you'd like to
Council,
do that.
it's up to you. You want to do it in finance?
Doesn't matter.
All right, well, before you, you have, we'll just do it now. Before you, you have, an estimate. And what we are paying and what the CDBG grant will pay. I think we can have a motion to accept this and get this under, and then get a resolution made later. That's what I'm going to recommend.
So moved.
All right, so you'll make a motion to that effect?
Yes.
And I want a second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call vote.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Mary Lou?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
All right, pass, so we take care of that. Anything else, John, on your list that you
The
want?
Mason Park drainage, if you would, I have the quote here, if you'd like to see it. I didn't get copies of it for you, but I'll give it to you just so.
That came up in our finance
Yes, ma'am.
committee, and that's
Yes.
gonna be one of our two
So
recommendations.
we'll wait,
We'll wait until we get there.
finance,
Okay,
yes.
John? Yo-ho. Okay, we'll catch you during finance.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Great. As long as we get it by tonight, then I
Yeah,
can tell them let's
we
go.
will.
Thank you.
Law director?
I have no report, Mayor.
I'm not skipping the sheriff because I don't see him. Clerk of council? Anything? All right. Finance, Mary Lou, let's go.
All right, you have the list of payments that have been submitted. They've been checked, rechecked and checked again. And there were three, I believe, that we had questions about, and those were rectified by Cindy. And so that's all taken care of. So we just need, Finance Committee needs a recommendation to pay. We've got the recommendation. We need a motion to pay the bills.
So you're making a motion then to pay the bills?
Yes.
Second?
I'll second.
Further discussion on the bills? All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Okay, those paid.
And then Mayor, if you would like to do the reader report.
Yes, the reader report for the last, to date, $545,000 has been received. A year ago, in 2015, the amount was $473,000. So you see, we've had an increase. And we have more business in town. We anticipate more business in town coming with the purchase of the Versa Corporation building. And if you've taken a look out there, you can see some improvement in the grounds. So Jerry Alcott purchased that building for $14, and he started already. Okay, the next item, Mary Lou, would be the proposal.
Right, on the workshop meeting finance, first recommendation is, as the village administrator requested, we need to okay the funds for correcting the drainage at Mason Park. So we as a group recommend that.
Okay. You want to make that a motion?
I'll make it a motion.
All right. I want a second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call vote.
Mary Lou?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Diane? Yes. David?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
So you'll take that and make the necessary.
And then we have one more thing that came out of our Marathon Finance Committee meeting. We have decided that we would like to stick with our healthcare coverage, our group insurance now, the trustee. So with due deliberation, we came up with the recommendation to stay with our present carrier, trustee, for the year of 2017. Mark, does that need a resolution?
I will be happy to prepare a resolution. I think it's important to do
Yeah,
so.
please.
Well, it's something we can't do in a matter of a few days. It's something we need to study in depth.
starting in
get the best
January.
quote. Yeah.
Mhm, yes.
If you've ever dealt with insurance, you still don't know what you're doing after you get it.
Have we received, quotes from other carriers? I thought that was in the works, no? John?
We've received, Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem. The Medical Mutual folks have not published their fees quite yet, for 2017. They're due out early October. Early October is a fuzzy date, but early October. If those come in favorable, great. If they come in unfavorable, we already have information from Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And then we're requesting from Trustee a little different program that has a little shift in the single and family deductibles to deal with that sore point, which is perfectly understandable. So we're looking to change them. I sent them an email asking them to give us a counter quote with some different deductibles with essentially the same coverage. Dental and eye, there's a couple of discussions there too. We're looking for some more information. So again, we've got quotes from one provider, and then we're waiting for Medical Mutual to publish theirs. The word on the street, and it's been worked out so far with a couple, is it's about a 10 to 14% increase. And then when we change the deductibles, it'll be a slight creep upward there, but it won't expose the village to any of the additional deductible issues we've had. So, sorry for the long answer.
No, that's all right, because it was my understanding that, so that we could save money, because, well, I think one council member referred to that insurance plan as a Cadillac type deal, and,
Right. It'll be
I
more
was
realistic.
hoping we were
Yeah.
going to be getting away from the Cadillac and maybe moving into a.
Right. Yeah, we'll be in a
Luxurious
Yugo
model,
here
shall we
shortly.
say.
We'll be fine. Yeah, so we'll move to something that's more common, and then we can decide if we want, employees can make a contribution in addition to that. That's another option to offset the premiums. So there's a lot of discussion yet to go, but we had to decide what we were going to do because we have a November 1st requirement for renewal if we stay with the same broker. So as Mary Lou has said, we'll move that direction, which keeps us from having to come into a whole bunch of other ACA issues. So that'll keep us
ACA.
sound. Affordable Care Act. When you start making massive changes, you start going into a whole bunch of different regulations that come in to kind of change your program a lot, so.
So will we actually have some numbers to look at comparing Trustee
As
to,
soon as I get Medical Mutuals, yes ma'am. Absolutely.
and hopefully the other one as well?
Well, let me tell you this, so it puts that to rest in your mind, because I had the same question. When you go under the current parameters of the Affordable Care Act, almost every broker is going to give you the same numbers. Based on our demographics, they're going to give you almost exactly the same numbers. As a matter of fact, one of the guys I talked to in getting numbers and discussing with them to try to get a little smarter on it is the same guy that's doing what he said, the backroom work for a whole bunch of different brokers. So when the broker tries to get you numbers, they're not experts in the Affordable Care Act either. They go to this consultant that knows it all. And he told me that essentially whatever broker you go to under the Affordable Care Act, it's supposed to neutralize that, which I guess if you're a pure capitalist, you're going to say, what's the point? There's no competition anymore. And that's not an editorial comment, it's only a fact. But he said that those numbers, no matter what broker you get, are going to essentially be the same based on our demographics. And I've provided demographics to two brokers, and essentially they're coming back about the same. So it's only now a matter of the deductible that you get and the percentage after the deductible, which some of those percentages can change a little. And then what they do is they put out a whole plan that tells you how much your monthly premium is going to be based on that demographic list that you get.
So I guess where we have room for wiggle room, if you will, would then be based on the employee deductible?
Yes.
Is that the only
That's
kind
the
of factor
primary,
we can?
that's the primary factor that's going to change.
So are we going to be requiring employees to kick in more on their deductible? Or?
Right, the guidance I was given is about a $2,000, $4,000 deductible instead of a $3,000, $9,000. So a $2,000, $4,000 is going to change the premium a little bit, but it puts, the employees will have some skin in the game, they'll have to make their payments and deductibles, the village won't cover them. And then, in the event that council would see that that premium is too high, you still have the option to go back and have employees make a contribution monthly to fund some of that differential, which there are two ways to do it. You could do it not, or you can do something. There's both ways of doing it. So that's a payroll deduction monthly for coverage, and you just have to make that decision as to which way you want to go with that.
I wouldn't mind seeing an apples to oranges comparison between what we're gonna go forward with and what has been.
As soon as I get medical mutual numbers, I think I can give you that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving along, you've heard a report from the water, the wastewater, streets, parks and rec, we'll go with the festival. Any comment on that from anybody? David, did you go to the meeting?
Yeah, we had, we talked about the festival. The main thing now is just getting everybody prepared in committees, especially how the committees are getting together. We formed, some committees and also talked about the future of the parade. That's still up there. Should we have it in the morning or in the evening? So basically that's the main things talked about, sir.
Okay. There are some other events planned, for the Gould House.
Yes.
And, I'll take that under recreation and, Rebecca, if you'll talk about the Gould House.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a Gould School. It's going to be at the old elementary school here in Mount Sterling. The last 3 weekends, the Friday and Saturdays in October. Madison Plains is on board like they were last year. Some of the students, especially in the drama division, will be helping with the makeup and being part of the exhibit. We're expanding it to go into the basement area, and that's really creepy. It should be. And we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to have tour guides that will be leading groups of approximately 20 people each through. And we have a lot of adults that will be throughout the exhibit as well. We call it the creepy teachers that will be leading the groups through. I posted a flyer probably about 3 weeks ago on our Mount Sterling Chamber Facebook page. It got shared all over, and last I checked, it was over 107,000 people that had viewed it. And if we could have even a portion of those, that could be really something this year. So we are meeting with Madison Plains at the school on Thursday to begin some of the initial walkthroughs and gathering more volunteers, and it should be great, so we hope everyone can check it out.
Okay. Halloween we set for October the 31st, the last meeting. Anything else on the festival you can think of? All right. Tri County Fire Department.
We have a meeting Tuesday.
Sterling Joint Ambulance System.
Alrighty, we are still looking at info and radio systems. A volunteer was hired. Sad state of affairs in the world, we had to recommend body armor, an agreement to deal with that. Employees, we still need 4 full-times. We signed again Big Lake County contract. They'll be having their own hazmat awareness discussion there, paid the bills and adjourned.
Pleasant Township.
We had a meeting September the 19th. They approved the fence. There was no old business to take care of. New business, we're looking for someone to plow snow and discuss the committee meeting and adjourn. It was pretty short. They don't have a whole lot going on.
Okay. Our next item would be the ordinances and resolutions, and the first one is 2016-25. An ordinance to adopt the solid waste management plan for the Allen, Champaign, Hardin, Madison, Shelby Union, and it's called a joint solid waste management district. And we've had it on first reading. Now, do you want to have it on the second reading or put an emergency clause in there and get rid of it?
What's our timeline?
We don't have any time.
Okay.
There's
and
no
I-
specific timeline, they just asked us to act on it.
So we could do one reading tonight, which would be the second one, and do the third one and adopt it at our next October meeting.
Let's just do a second reading.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Let's give you a motion for the second reading.
I'll give you a second.
I have a motion and a second to place ordinance 2016-25, which I just read to you, on the second reading. Discussion, roll call vote.
Jim,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Mary Lou.
Yes.
The next ordinance, 2016-26, authorizing Lowell Anderson or his designee to enter into an employment agreement with Cindy Miller for the position of fiscal officer for the Village of Mount Sterling. And we can either have this on the second reading or adopt it tonight. It's up to you.
I like to adopt it.
All
I
right.
do too, Lowell.
All right, so we want to adopt it. So with emergency clause, then this is the second. I guess I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Do I have that motion?
Second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adopt this as an emergency, suspending the rules on ordinance 2016-26. We have a resolution that will be prepared by our village solicitor on this. It's already been prepared, right? Okay. So this is to suspend the rules and place it on the first and third reading. That's my motion. That's what we have before us. With the emergency clause, we have it,
So moved.
and we have a motion and we have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Diane. All right, discussion? Roll call vote on this.
Diane,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Mary Lou.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
The next motion I want is to adopt this ordinance designating Lowell Anderson or his designee to enter into an employment agreement with Cindy Miller for the position of fiscal officer for the Village of Mount Sterling. We have declared it an emergency. We have had the necessary readings, and now I want a motion to adopt this ordinance 2016-26.
You have that motion, sir, and I'll second.
That speaks well for everybody because we're very pleased with Cindy, and she's doing an outstanding job. She's right on target with what we want to be doing. Adoption with a roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Mary Lou.
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Diane.
Yes.
Motion adopted, so we have that out of the way. Roundtable,
Very quickly. Back to, finance. Employee health insurance will continue in 2017 with trustee. Are we doing,
you want a motion to that effect?
I would like
All
for
right,
it, so
you
we
make
can
this
start in
motion.
January doing what Diane would like to do. Because you know, open enrollment time right now is a crunch. We didn't realize what a mess we were in, so
Why would we wanna do that though when we haven't completely?
the finance committee in discussion, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who were there, decided that we will continue with trustee for
Okay.
2017.
All right.
So I didn't know if we needed a motion.
Yeah, we'd have to have it in the motion,
Okay.
because I just asked Mark, and
Now, let me explain a little bit here. This does not mean that we know at this point in time what your premium is going to be. All this means is the Affordable Care Act, this particular plan has been grandfathered in the Affordable Care Act. So it contains certain things that other plans may not have. So that was the primary reason to tell them, yeah, we're still going to be part of this particular company, their plan. We don't know at this point in time whether it's going to be 2,000, 4,000, as Mr. Martin had said earlier. Those things are still up in the air. We're just stating we're going to go with this particular company, which represents multiple kinds of insurance companies.
There's a broker that is your agent, and that agent goes out to providers. That would be Anthem, Blue Cross, Medical Mutual, whoever's still in the game. There's a couple of big ones that pulled out recently, but by saying you're sticking with the same broker, you stay under your grandfather clause, and you don't have a whole bunch of other ACA parameters that come in and really sit on your neck. So by staying with that agent, now all we're doing is bickering over the final deductibles and the final fees based on what Medical Mutual comes in at. And it seems like they're coming in at a pretty reasonable rate with a minimal 10 to 14% increase. The variable then is how much deductible we have, and that'll change your premium around. That's probably the biggest fish to pull out of the water, is what your deductible's gonna be.
Okay, so trustee's basically the broker?
He's the broker, yeah, their trustee's the broker, and all you're saying to the ACA world is we're staying with the same broker, so we're staying under that grandfather clause. It doesn't throw a whole bunch of more monkey wrenches in the machine.
Okay, I
So
understand.
want to state the motion the way you want it to read.
I would like to make a motion that our employee health insurance continue in 2017 with trustee.
Second?
I'll second.
Now, any further discussion? Up for adoption. Start with a roll call.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Mary Lou?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes,
Diane?
We don't need a resolution for this then.
We could get one, but we don't right
As
now.
soon as we come up with the exact amounts, we get a resolution prepared. I want to make sure that the resolution states with specificity what your premium is going to be
Okay.
and
I'm
which
good then.
program we're going to go through. We're not there tonight.
Okay, I'm good then. Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Anything else on roundtable? I would want to state the next meeting is October the 12th, which is Columbus Day, but that's already on our schedule, and I've talked to the council members, and most of them say no problem with having October the 12th. In October, next meeting, October the 12th. Okay? Anything for roundtable now?
I want to bring up for roundtable, be sure to watch the debates tonight. I think that's going to be better than the WWE. I think it's going to be fun to watch. But I think we got to watch it. Our future of our whole country really relies on what happens there tonight, and I think it's important to watch.
All right, Diane?
I'm fine, yes.
All right. Rebecca?
And don't forget the Red Sox playing tonight.
Rebecca?
ESPN too.
Anything?
No.
Very good. Jim?
the next meeting's October the 10th.
Well, maybe it is October the 10th, you're right. Why didn't you tell me when I made it? I was looking at this month. Thank you. I can't say I was seeing if you're awake, but I made the mistake. It is October the 10th. Okay, and it's also Thanksgiving Day in one of the foreign countries, so anyway. October the 10th is our next meeting.
And Asher begins that week too.
Pardon?
Asher. Shalom.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting if anybody has, before I adjourn it. If anybody wants to speak for 3 minutes, we'll take it after I've adjourned the meeting. We have some guidelines, a few things that I will explain. I would like for you to state your name and whether you're a resident or you live outside the village, what the issue is. Keep in mind, we'll allow you to present it for 3 minutes. There will be no dialogue between you and the council. It will be a statement, whatever. Also, we will not entertain information regarding Facebook or any other electronic means of communication that you want to speak about. We will not entertain that. If you want to, you cannot talk about an employee. If you want to talk about an employee, make a time to come in and talk to the village administrator or myself about an employee. We will not allow dialogue in that nature. Also, if you have a problem with council, any particular council member, will not entertain information about that council member or council members or whatever. That's where we stand on that. Any questions on that from the council? Council will not respond. It will be a listening only. All right? I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and last week, we'll see what happens, so I'm adjourning the meeting. And now, if you have something, I would ask you to come back and state your name and go from there.
Hi. My name is Meg Downing. I live at 333 North Market Street. I'm actually
That is
not.
outside the village?
Yes. Is it okay to speak with the water?
Pardon me?
I was gonna speak about the water.
Have you an issue with the water, is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what not a current issue, but I just wanted to give some background, as to why I'm involved in this, and I think some of the outsiders are. So is it okay to start? Is it okay to start?
Proceed.
Okay. I moved here in 2014, in November with my husband. And we started drinking water. We had originally lived out at 5 Points. It was still Mount Sterling address. And then had well water. So we were kind of super excited to have water that didn't turn all of my laundry pink. And when we started drinking the water, we ended up being very sick. I had been to the doctor multiple times, and my husband just had stomach problems. We hadn't had a chance to see what was inside of our pipes yet, but we had kind of figured maybe it was the water. It was the only thing that was new that would cause them to for both of us. And so we stopped drinking the water. We had a lot of other house problems. And at one point in time, we went ahead and replaced our kitchen faucet and basically discovered that our pipes were almost completely closed off with terrible corrosion. Part of this is totally because it is galvanized. They were galvanized pipes at the time. But what was disconcerting to me, and I had thought about at the time, was, the problem is my dad's had a USGS. I've been in a water family my entire life where people are always talking about processing water, what you need balanced pH, the acids, is that in situations where water is not being treated properly, it can result in that corrosion leaching into drinking water and basically making you sick. And so I didn't really think much about it until kind of moving forward with Joe Johnson, and then kind of put the two together as he was in charge of the water plant at the time. And I just wanted to kind of say, John and Martin, I feel strongly the water now, the quality is different. We still don't drink it because we haven't replaced the line. Oh, 1 minute. Haven't replaced the line from my house to to the water meter itself. But that there's a lot of us involved for various reasons. It's not that we're trying to cause trouble or be dramatic. It is because we're legitimately concerned about our well-being. And, whereas people have been speaking for, years and years, when I wasn't speaking, I felt that it was time for me to start participating in those things. So I wanted to give a bit of a background as to why you might have these quote-unquote outsiders. We're outsiders as far as voting goes, but we're not outsiders as far as what may be affected by decisions made here.
Okay. Next. Anyone else? If not, I'm going to say that's the end of the dialogue. Thank you very much for coming. And we'll turn those phones over to John. Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna have to control it, going back to the
No, we got it all.
Yeah.